It's time for another Broken Plane podcast, coming to you from the Pod Shed in Tigard, Oregon, with your hosts TK and JB.
Welcome to the Broken Plane Podcast, Season 2, Episode 24, Regular Season, Week 4. I'm JB.
And I'm TK.
TK, how you doing?
Doing great. Ready to get into this thing. Got a lot of good stuff today.
A lot of good stuff. Should we, do you have anything to get into before we jump in?
No new news.
No new news.
No.
No news is new news with Gary Gnews. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Then we'll just start off.
We'll just jump right in with Twitter Fan of the Week.
Twitter Fan of the Week. Who do you got?
This week, Twitter Fan of the Week, Joey Dennis at JRDennisJR5490. That's right. We love Joey. You know what? I like his team's choices. I was admiring who he roots for, and it baffled me when I got to the NFL team.
Yeah, he looks like he's a Maryland native.
He lives in Virginia, according to his Twitter profile.
Maybe not
yeah.
a native, but he lives in Maryland.
Yeah, he's over there.
Virginia, you said?
Yeah.
Virginia, okay.
Baltimore Orioles, Maryland Terrapins, and then he likes the Washington Wizards, Nationals, and Capitals.
That's fine.
So, of course,
yeah,
Washington football team fan.
Yeah, you would think.
Dallas Cowboys.
What?
The man in Virginia, in the heart of Washington football territory, loves the Dallas Cowboys.
You know, this reminds me of my son. Me, the Seahawks fan, and I raise my son. I take him to a Seahawks game, and I have a friend of mine who's a Raiders fan.
Boo.
And my friend twists my child, and now my child is a Raiders fan.
That's disgusting.
It happened when he was very small, and I wasn't looking. And my son thought it was the funniest thing ever when he would root for the Raiders, and I would cry on the inside.
Kids do that.
Yeah. He would come to me. He would say, Daddy, you know who I want to win? I'd say, the Seahawks? Raiders! And then he'd laugh and run away.
Was that back when they were all together in the same division, too?
No.
But
No,
Seahawks were an AFC team at the time, right? So they were kind of more closely rivalized.
Actually, maybe it was... he was born in 2000. It was like,
I guess,
02.
yeah. I'm thinking when I was a kid.
Yeah, no.
He's not that old.
He's not quite that old
Yeah.
yet.
So they may have already made the switch. But it still hurt you.
Oh, yeah.
Because to you, they feel like a rival anyway.
No, I hate the Raiders.
Yeah.
I really... The Raiders are fine to me now. The Broncos are the ones I hate. I always hated the Broncos the most.
Ouch.
Yeah. John Elway used to kill the Seahawks. Oh, man. It was ugly.
A legend.
Yeah. But he's dead now, so it's fine.
No, he's just ruining them from afar. But not that far. Just
Yeah.
up in the booth.
Which is good. So maybe that's what happened here. Maybe his dad was a Washington football team fan, and he wanted to poke fun at his dad.
Joey, let us know how you became a Dallas Cowboys fan in the I don't know what's that area? Appalachia?
No, I don't think it's No, I think it's just Virginia. Maybe
Virginia.
You just call it Virginia. Appalachia. That makes it sound like it's like hill people or something. It's like
They kind of are.
No, he's got hockey teams on here. No.
All right, fine.
Washington Wizards.
I'm sorry, Joey.
He doesn't live in the sticks.
You don't name your hill person child Joey.
No, you probably don't name your hill person child. I wouldn't know.
Joey, thanks for being a fan. Sorry your Cowboys are so bad. Maybe you can fill us in as to why that's the case, but they just lost to the Seahawks, which is embarrassing.
Not that embarrassing.
It's pretty bad.
The Seahawks are really good.
From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much.
You can check us out at The Broken Plane on Twitter, thebrokenplanepod@gmail.com, and on YouTube.
Yeah, the Broken Plane Podcast. All right, so what are we doing here today?
Well, first up, quick reads. We did this last week, and it seemed to work pretty good.
People liked it.
What we're doing here is we're going to Roto World, and we're reading the NFL front page headlines.
That's right.
And we're just giving our reactions. First up, Rashard Matthews done with the Titans. Rashard Matthews has reportedly left the Titans, does not intend to rejoin the team.
Ooh.
What do you think?
Doesn't matter.
Not now, right?
Nah.
Because he hasn't really been targeted a lot. So, yeah.
I'm not that broken up about it. Corey Davis is great. Taywan Taylor is looking a lot better. It's too bad they lost Delaney Walker, but they still have Jonnu Smith. Maybe he'll turn into something. He's kind of been projected from the college level as a Delaney Walker type player. Delaney Walker took a couple of years to really get into things and become that guy that was an offensive threat. So maybe Jonnu Smith can get there.
Yeah, that sounds right. And with the other problems that the Titans are having offensively, the loss of Rashard Matthews doesn't really bump the needle.
That's true.
They have other fish to fry right now.
First, they have to worry about the fact that Mariota can't really throw the ball.
Blaine Gabbert came in and, well, I guess he did.
Came in and then he left.
And then he left.
Yeah,
and
promptly.
then Mariota came out and dinked and dunked the team to a win over the Jaguars.
He looked pretty good, I got to say.
Yeah. He did look pretty good. The Jaguars didn't look as good. They had some trouble getting to the quarterback. And
hey, Des Bryant's still out there. I like Des Bryant on this team.
On the Jacksonville? On the Jags?
No, on Titans. They lost a wide receiver. We just brought this up.
We did just bring this up. Yeah, we did. No, because Des Bryant's not a very good receiver.
He'll be fine.
I mean, he would be, but no, he's not a very good receiver.
He's a one-year rental anyway.
I don't like him.
I know you don't.
No, he's no good.
I think Tennessee should do it. Vrabes, get out there.
Next up, Earl Thomas, again, not practicing. He was absent from Wednesday's practice.
Big deal.
I don't think this matters.
No.
Okay.
I think he's doing everything he can to preserve his body, stay healthy. He'll play in the games, showcase himself, do well. Apparently, he'll just continue to get interceptions or forced fumbles, whatever he's been doing. He's been doing it right.
He's been putting up, it is frightening. He's been putting up Defensive Player of the Year numbers.
Yeah.
So, against the Cowboys, two picks and 2 passes defended. Yeah, he's been playing in the games well. I don't really mind that he's missing practice. Okay, Larry Fitzgerald is DNP for practice. Updating an earlier report, Fitzgerald with a hamstring didn't practice Wednesday.
Also, I don't think there's anything to worry about here.
No.
The dude's 35 or maybe older.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to be fine. It is too bad because this is Josh Rosen's first week starting.
Yeah.
So it'd be great for him to be able to work with Josh Rosen. Good for Rosen more than probably Fitzgerald. But I don't think it's going to be a problem on Sunday.
I'm not sure how much they throw anyway.
Well, a lot when they get behind, don't they?
Probably.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, it's against the Seahawks, so maybe we won't. I don't know.
Could be a run fest.
Chris Carson, speaking of the Seahawks, a lot of Seahawks on the report this week. Chris Carson hip was limited at Wednesday's practice.
Is this a big deal? I haven't heard anything about this yet. They don't have a lot of running depth behind him.
Well, they got Rashad Penny.
That's true.
Who's
He hasn't
back there
looked
still.
good, though. And Pete Carroll continues to call him out and say he doesn't look good.
Well, Chris Carson only looks good right up until he gets hurt. Every time
That's
something
true,
good,
but that's how everybody works.
every time he does something good, he gets hurt.
By the way,
Yeah.
I just have to say, last week we were talking about Matt Breida. I thought he was great and he was going to overtake Alf. And then you went off and shot your mouth off and said that, well, yeah, he's great until he gets hurt. And then like 4 rushes in, he goes out with what looks like a devastating knee injury. Thankfully, he came back.
He came back. It's fine.
But I was cursing you.
You can't blame me for that.
How could you even? He's on our team. Why are you bad-mouthing him?
Okay.
Don't do it again.
Mental
Chris
note.
Carson is great. He's not getting hurt. He's fine.
That's how you do it.
He's taking a personal day.
Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin knee? Which one? I guess just they don't
It
specify.
doesn't say. I don't know if it was the one from training camp or if it was the one from
Week 2?
Week 2 or whatever it was.
He's returned to a limited practice on Wednesday.
So he's feeling better.
Yeah,
Great news.
Yeah, he's a Seahawks receiver. I don't know if this matters at all.
He's the best wide receiver the Seahawks maybe have ever seen.
Steve Largent is the best receiver the Seahawks have ever seen. Steve Largent's in the Hall of Fame.
That's true.
Just stop. Don't even go.
But these are 70s numbers we're talking about right now.
80s.
80s numbers.
80s.
All the same. Terrible.
Killing
It
me.
was a running league.
It was a running league. That's the point. He did all that in a running league. Good grief. Dalvin Cook, hamstring, questionable for Thursday night. What do you think? Do you think he plays?
I don't think it matters so much if he plays. Latavius Murray's still got some pretty good skills.
Mm-hmm.
Dalvin Cook hasn't looked that great. Maybe it's because the hamstring was bothering him to begin with. But I'd probably leave him out if it's even a little bit up in the air.
It seems like a pretty big risk,
Yeah.
especially, like you said, Latavius Murray seems like he's doing well in the starting role.
Murray feels like more the back you want to go up against Los Angeles anyway, because more of a power guy.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that makes sense. Marcus Peters is going to be a game time call on Thursday. So he's questionable with the calf right now.
They had some bad luck.
What isn't on the report because he's already on IR is Aqib Talib.
That's right. He's gonna have surgery.
You know, I don't know what the prognosis. Well, the prognosis was. I think he is having surgery. I didn't hear what the specific injury was. It was an ankle, but I didn't hear what they were doing to treat it. But
Yeah.
IR is 8 weeks. Is that right?
I think so.
Or it's
Yeah.
6 or 8 weeks or something like that. So they expect to get him back. I guess that's good news.
Yeah.
Right. But this takes if Talib's out, he will be, and then Peters is also out. Then who are you left with in the secondary?
They have Nickel Roby-Coleman,
Who is
played
playing?
well.
He's playing nickel right now.
Yeah.
So you're moving your nickel back out to the edge.
I'm not sure if he actually played out on the edge last year at all. I think maybe he was always a slot guy.
And you got Shields.
Sam Shields, old, but still, he's still...
He used to be a Pro Bowler.
He's proficient.
He's been to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. I'm not so down on that.
Okay.
It's definitely a downgrade because these are two current Pro Bowlers that we're talking about taking away from the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to kill him.
Well, I think it makes life easier for Thielen and Diggs.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see
if Cousins can throw the ball to him.
If they can make some hay. Yeah. Keenan Allen, knee, didn't practice on Wednesday.
That's not good. Did he come out of the game, or is it just something that cropped up on Sunday?
He said it suffered the injury late in Sunday's loss.
Okay.
But I don't see that he came out.
Man.
I don't remember him coming out.
No. They don't have a lot there if he's out. I don't like them as much. I mean, Mike Williams is looking good. He caught 2 great touchdown passes last weekend. We were wrong to be worried about him matched up against the Los Angeles defense.
Either going into this week, they're playing the Niners. So the Niners depleted with
Sherman's
Sherman out. If Allen can go.
Great matchup. If he can't go, great matchup for Mike Williams, who's probably going to be the number 1 target. Though Tyrell Williams is still pretty good.
Joey Bosa, this surprised me. A foot injury, sidelined until at least week 9.
That's not good. That's not cool at all,
That's
man.
a long time away.
Chargers are just getting nailed with injuries, bad injuries.
This is kind of a mess too because he had a foot injury that he was recovering from in training camp, and then he got better, and then he practiced, or did he play in a preseason game? And he re-injured the same foot, different thing, but the same foot.
I hadn't heard that.
So that's why he was like, oh, he'll be back next week. And then it was like, oh, he's not going to be back until later.
Yeah, because the whole walking boot thing and him all of a sudden not being ready to start the season was kind of a surprise to everyone.
Yeah. Well, this is why.
Yeah.
Apparently he has an unstable tendon.
Ugh.
I don't even know what that is. It's a tendon that wanders around.
Sounds gross.
I don't know. Fix it.
Get that taken care of, Joey. Him and his brother are both having troubles. Nick's out. He's not playing now either. Yeah.
You know, that's interesting because I read
Bad genes.
I actually read an article about that, and they said that he was doing all this, like, I don't want to say futuristic. He was doing a bunch of
new wave treatments.
Yeah,
as you would.
Yeah, he wasn't doing traditional football workouts.
Uh-huh.
He was doing a lot of pliability, a lot of flexibility work, and
this is Joey.
Well, both of them.
Okay.
Nick was really focusing on it because Joey did it and it had a lot of success, and Nick was doing it in school. And this was supposed to keep him from ever being injured. They weren't ever supposed to get injured because they were going to be so flexible and Gumby-like that their bodies would just adapt to whatever they put them through.
Right.
And now they're both hurt. Yoga, it's tougher than it looks.
I guess it's hard to yoga your foot, though.
You got to yoga.
You got to learn. You got to learn how to yoga your foot better.
Anyway, so good luck to both of them. I hope they make it back. Joey Bosa, you know, he's got like it's 0.83 sacks per game for his career.
Wow.
Yeah. He's fierce.
That's big.
When he's on the field, he's fierce.
I know. It seems like they're missing him, too. They haven't been quite as dominant as we expected them to be. Kind of disappointing.
Good, because the Chargers are terrible.
You don't like
I
them.
hate it when
you don't
they're
like
good.
any of them.
I hate it when the Chargers are good. They're an AFC West team. You know when I said I don't like the Broncos, that was the team I hated?
Yeah.
I don't like the rest of them either. I really... the Chiefs are bad. The Raiders...
You gotta like the Chiefs right now. Chiefs are kind of fun right now.
It hurts me a little bit on the inside. I'll watch them.
It feels weird for me because last year I hated the Chiefs, but I realized it was all Alex Smith, and I love the Chiefs.
So now it's fine.
All in on the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, the Chargers though, no. Whenever I think Chargers, I think Dan Fouts, but not good Dan Fouts. I think really old Dan Fouts who's just tottering around and then not throwing the ball very well and making me mad because he could never throw for 300 yards when I was watching. Titans announced Mariota as Week 4 starter. Apparently,
bravo.
Apparently, weak Mariota, who can't throw the ball very well, is better than healthy Blaine Gabbert.
Yes, I could have told you that at any point in history.
So there you go. Mariota's the starter. And last up on the list, Juju Smith-Schuster not practicing Wednesday.
What?
Didn't practice. What do you think?
I think it's just a ploy to get him some rest. The man's doing all the work for Pittsburgh this year. Antonio, where are you? He's just off complaining somewhere. That's all he's doing.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You didn't
Cry
just go
baby.
there. And actually, Roto-World actually says here, it's possible, if not likely, that he's just getting a breather following Monday night's win over Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I read that. I cheated.
Yeah. So, could just be a breather.
Hopefully.
That's it for Quick Reads.
That's it?
That's it. Now on to the TGBBPFFL recap.
Beautiful. Last week I gave the Week 3 Game of the Week. I picked HuntsField and McCoy's versus LA's Finest. It turned out to be a steamroll victory for LA's Finest. Austin did not do well. And he left a lot of points on the bench. He chose Wentz over Goff, which I don't understand. Why would you choose Wentz over your boy? You're a Rams guy, Austin. How do you not play Jared Goff? That's what that was.
He probably was listening to you last week when you said that Carson Wentz was actually undefeated coming off of
That's true.
Major ACL, MCL reconstructive surgery.
But he also should have listened to me when I said, as much as I'm on the Carson Wentz train, I'm not recommending him for fantasy.
You did say that.
And I was kind of right.
You're kind of right. I mean, he was, he didn't fall on himself. Yeah. He didn't Gabbard it. So that's something, right?
He also played D.D. Westbrook over Mike Williams, which I can understand that. Sort of. This is a Jacksonville wide receiver we're talking about, so that's questionable call. Yeah. But Mike Williams was going up against his Rams. I don't think he wanted him to do well, so I think he was just kind of hoping that he was going to get shut down. Wasn't the case. Didn't matter even if he played both of them. He still would have lost by like 50.
Yeah.
He got blown out.
It was a wide margin. 206-133 was the final score.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there wasn't a lot he could have done.
The one thing we talked about with Jay's team, he had to drop his kicker because he had Greg the Leg Zorline, also of the Rams. Mm-hmm. We thought maybe he would go with Dan Bailey, fresh off a new contract over in Minnesota. Bailey, I don't think even stepped on the field because the Vikings were terrible.
Yeah.
But, lucky for him, he played Chandler Catanzaro.
Who's that?
He used to kick for Arizona. Now he kicks for Tampa Bay.
Oh.
And he put up 9 points.
That's pretty
so
good.
That helped him. He didn't need it.
No. He had 206.
He could have stuck with Greg Legg.
And it would have been fine.
Yeah. So congratulations to J5 at JAYFJVE. If you want to give him a follow, he's got some good stuff on Twitter. Don't follow Austin. He doesn't deserve it this week.
That's messed up. So who do you got for this week's Game of the Week?
Game of the Week for Week 4. Bob's Boss Team, managed by the Bad Bad Bob, at the Bad Bad Bob, I should say. Follow him on Twitter. Versus Fantasy Executive, managed by at Realist Kingdom.
This will be a good one.
I think so. They've got some buys coming up, so let's see what Bob has to deal with. Bob's got his quarterback gone. He had Jimmy G.
Yeah.
And he's got Case Keenum on the bench.
So he's going to want somebody else.
Are you going to play Case Keenum?
Well,
or are you going to search?
I'm going to search. Or maybe a trade.
Okay.
I'm going to find someone else.
You know what, Bob, if you're listening, I'm kind of done with Deshaun.
Really?
I'm thinking we might make a move for Baker Mayfield if I forget who has him. I kind of want Baker. So if you're out there, we'll trade for him.
Okay.
Or we might go with Josh Rosen. Or we might go with Josh Allen.
You know what? I might take a flyer on Allen.
Right?
I mean, all he seems to be doing is running over guys and scoring points.
All I do is win, no matter what.
So why wouldn't you?
Not all he does, but he's won one.
Well, every time he gets in the game, good things happen. So,
right.
I mean, is he good? I don't think so. But every time he gets in the game.
I think he's good. I'm changing my tune on him. The Bills suck. I hate the Bills.
Watching him in that offense is just, you know what it's like? It's like watching Tim Tebow. Because Tim Tebow can't do anything right, but good things always seem to happen when he's on the field.
Yeah.
So I'm conflicted. I don't know what to do.
I think Allen has a little more skill than him, though.
I think so.
Allen looks a little bit better in most aspects of the game.
I think so.
His scrambling ability is pretty outstanding.
He moves really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he can put the ball wherever he wants. Well, no, that's not true. He can throw the ball to an area near where he wants to.
If your target is big, it's a good thing he's got a huge target in Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin, it's a good thing he's fat and big because that's...
The ball just sucks right into his gut.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. You know what? I was thinking about this. What if the Bills hadn't drafted Josh Allen? What if somebody else had gotten to him first? What if New York had gone for it?
If the
Giants.
If the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh, the Giants. He's not playing right now.
Yeah, he's probably not playing right now.
Yeah.
But I think in the end that probably works out better because he's set with Ingram, Odell, and Sterling Shepard. And then they can probably pick up a wide receiver or a running back next year because they probably still suck if Eli's still playing.
A lot of tools.
Also, what if Denver doesn't go after Case Keenum and relies on the draft to pick up a quarterback and they settle for Josh Allen? Denver's a pretty good team with a good quarterback.
Yeah, they could be.
Yeah.
They could be.
I'm sorry, Josh Allen. You got picked by the worst franchise.
I'm having
New
trouble.
Browns.
I'm really having trouble seeing him in those offenses, though, because he's just... the Bills are so confusing to watch offensively because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing. How am I supposed to know what they're doing if they don't know what they're doing? Watching them, you got guys go in the wrong direction. I can't tell if it's the receiver making a bad choice or the rookie quarterback making a bad choice. Josh Allen is making plays.
Yeah.
And he's fun to watch, but
I think with more forgiving receivers, and talented wide receivers like Odell Beckham or Sterling Shepard, or guys on Denver like Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, who are all very talented wide receivers and much better than Zay Jones and Kelvin Benjamin, I think Josh Allen has a lot more going for him.
Man, I think OBJ is wasted on him. I just think there's a guy with a lot of talent who needs a quarterback.
It's too bad he didn't get traded to the Rams, huh?
Oh, that would have been something.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been something.
Anyway, I had to go off on a little tangent once we got onto Josh Allen there, because I had that sitting in my brain for a while now. I'm sorry, Josh.
So who would you take if they got these guys out there in our league?
We got Flacco, Dalton, Eli Manning, some other guys. But interestingly enough, fantasy executive quarterback is Cam Newton, who is on a bye this week, and he has no backup quarterback on his roster, so he's going to go fishing too. Mm-hmm. So they could be fighting for the same guys. The same guy even. I don't know. So I'm curious to see where that ends up, because that could be the pivotal positional matchup for the weekend. Fantasy executive also has Devin Funchess, so he'll have to go find a replacement for a wide receiver somewhere, or move one of his wide receivers in the flex up and put somebody in the flex position. But I think that'll be a good matchup. What I want to see is one of them take Josh Allen and one of them take Josh Rosen and fight it out with the rookie quarterbacks for this week's matchup.
That'd be sweet.
That would be fun.
Who would you take if that happened?
Man, I have to look at the roster, but based on performance for this weekend, Allen's up against Green Bay, and Rosen's got Seattle at home.
Yeah.
I think I would go with Rosen. We'll see if I'm right. I think Rosen ekes it out.
Here's my thing.
Rosen looked okay. If he can avoid the dumb plays and throwing a bad interception, which I think he'll be able to do when he's not pressed for trying to bring his team back.
Well, here's my thing with Josh Rosen.
He was trying to pull a Baker Mayfield.
I think Josh Rosen has to have everything. I think Josh Rosen has to have everything else in the offense working for him to be successful. And I don't know that he will.
The thing with Rosen for me is I think he's got a lot more going for him on offense.
I think he does. There's more skill there than there is in Buffalo.
I thought maybe the problem with Arizona was the offensive line, but it was just Sam Bradford. Just dreadful. But he's got David Johnson. He's got Larry Fitzgerald. Christian Kirk looks pretty good. Yeah. I love Ricky Seals-Jones. I think he's got some good weapons on that team. That was our fantasy matchup. What else do we want to talk about? Let's just give some shout-outs for the 3-0 teams. There's 2 left.
Let's talk about 6 Brady.
Tracy's team.
Can you believe it?
3-0. Yeah.
Again, that's pretty incredible.
Is she good or is she lucky? That's what I'm wondering right now.
Didn't she have the first pick in the draft?
She did.
So
she got early, but then she had to wait 23 picks before she could pick again.
That's what I'm saying. The first pick in the draft is a booby prize, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough one.
I think you kind of get hosed. I would much rather be a mid pick, even towards the end of the first round, because I really like getting the double picks.
Yep.
I mean, I know if you get the first pick, then you get, at the end of the third round, you also get the first pick. Whatever. I understand how a serpentine draft works, but a lot of times you get the first pick and that's fine. But you have to wait so long.
All the premier talent is gone.
Yeah. You're looking at mid-level guys by the time it gets back to you. Even in a 12-team league, let alone a 14-team league. I don't know how those guys do it at all. Let's just forget
That's no fun. The only thing that I wondered about, and that might hurt her chances at staying up top, faced only 380.6 points total her opponents have put up. That's basically the lowest.
Yeah.
Fantasy Executive has about a half a point less than her.
So she's getting some favorable matchups then.
Yes, but she has put up 481 points, which is the third highest in our league. So she's still scoring on people.
So that's legit.
Yeah.
That's legit. Okay.
So we'll take that. And then tomato paste, for shiggles, I don't know how you're doing it. You've got 2 kickers on your roster.
You got to be ready for every contingency.
Fantasy master, apparently.
Every contingency, you got to be ready.
Prater and Matt Bryant.
Was one of them hurt at one point?
I don't think so.
That's so weird.
I don't know why he's doing it. He's also got 2 defenses.
Hey, man, buys. Who are the defenses?
I guess so.
You got to play the hot one.
I love doing the streaming defense, though. Maybe some people don't have the courage I do.
The streaming defense?
Yeah, I like to just pick one up when I need one. Oh, let's take a chance on this. They all score 6 points every week. It's no different.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
And I have to do it. Shout out to us, the Spring Chickens.
Woo!
You know what? We won. We beat Jonah, sent him to 0-3 where he belongs, down at the bottom of the trash heap.
That was so bad.
We didn't even play our kicker.
No, we didn't. We had a little oversight.
Yeah, we had to drop the recently dropped Daniel Carlson and pick up of course, who the Browns replaced their discarded kicker, Zane Gonzalez. They picked up Greg Joseph, who we also picked up. Put up 8 points.
That was good.
He looks good.
Why didn't we play him?
I forgot that he played on Thursday. And
Ah.
I just left him on the bench.
That's why.
And
That's why.
Luckily, it didn't matter because we won by about 15.
What's happening? What's going on with Jonah?
I do not know. He had bad luck that first week, and it's just rolled up on him.
You know, I think us having Cooper Kupp is really into his head.
Yeah, he proposed the trade for Cooper Kupp immediately, and there's nothing we could do. Our hands were tied. We can't roster anybody older than a second-year guy. You offered us Doug Baldwin, who, man, if we took Doug Baldwin, we would be looking like chumps right now.
Yes.
Good thing we didn't do it. That's been the TGBBPFFL recap. Tune in next week to see who won and who lost and how good we are again.
And see if Jonah goes to
0-4.
0-4.
Yeah. Good luck, Jonah.
Start him or sit him.
We're going to talk about some more fantasy and real-life situations and questions that our fans on Twitter have asked of us, want us to talk about. Austin, the big loser from last week, he wants to know who's the fantasy play this week, Drew Brees or Matt Ryan? So, obviously, they had a head-to-head matchup last week. They scored a ton of points.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan, fresh off a 5-touchdown performance. JB, how many 5-touchdown performances has Matt Ryan had in his career?
None.
That's right.
0.
Drew Brees had a pretty great game, too. He's got 8 touchdowns on the year and 2 rushing touchdowns. So, bouncing back, who's going to have a great second week in a row? You taking Matt Ryan versus Cincinnati at home, I should say in Atlanta, or Drew Brees on the road heading to New York to fight the Giants?
You know what? Matt Ryan plays really well at home, and the Bengals are stout defensively, but has Sarkisian figured it out? Has the Atlanta offense, are they finally going to be on track?
Boy, they looked really good, but
A lot of teams look good against the Saints.
you have to be fair when you say that the Saints secondary has fallen to pieces. It does not look good anymore.
No. So you know what? I would probably roll with Matty Ryan.
Gonna go with
more
Matty
talent. I think all things being equal, you go for the team that has more talent on it. And I don't know if there is a more gifted team in the league than the Falcons.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
You tell me who it is if there is one.
Wow. I mean, these teams are pretty evenly matched offensively, I think, if you ask me. And I think New Orleans has a little bit of an advantage at the running back position because Kamara is an amazing pass catcher, whereas Tevin Coleman is still really good. He's still up there, but he's still slightly below Kamara for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can rely on Michael Thomas more than Julio Jones based solely on the fact that Julio never catches touchdowns. And Sarkisian apparently doesn't know how to use him in the red zone.
That's got to be a blip, doesn't it? Sooner or later, they've got to fix that.
Well, nobody's fixed it.
Something has to happen.
Even Kyle Shanahan wasn't getting him touchdowns. He's never been a big touchdown guy.
I thought he had touchdowns under Shanny, didn't he?
Well, he's never broken 10, and I think maybe his career high for a season is 8.
He should probably get some more then.
He should get some more.
He should get some more.
Yeah, the tight end position, I think Atlanta has a slight advantage with Austin Hooper over Ben Watson.
I was going to say, do the Saints have a tight end?
Yeah, they
I don't
do.
Remember.
They roster some tight ends, but
they roster them.
You don't need to know them. The thing I like about Breeze is he's playing New York.
That's a plus.
Yeah,
It's in New York, though.
Also the fact that I think with Saints secondary being bad, I think Giants have a good game and keep the score close and force New Orleans to keep throwing the ball.
Well, yes, that sounds right. The Saints defensively haven't been able to keep anybody off the field this year, so you're definitely right. I'm going to stick with Matty Ryan, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay, and my final justification for Breeze, who do you think is more likely to throw for 300 or more yards in a game, Breeze or Ryan?
I would think they're pretty even.
Drew Brees has about 100 more games. He has like 90 more games than Matt Ryan does.
Okay.
But Brees has thrown over 300 yards in 44% of his games to Matt Ryan's 28%.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Drew Brees has thrown over 300 yards in almost half his games.
111 times.
For his career, for his 827-year career?
252 games.
Holy cow.
Matt Ryan's 46 of 161.
Wow. I am stunned.
Who's more likely to throw for 3 or more touchdowns?
Drew Brees.
Of course.
Okay.
81 out of 252 for 32%, or Matt Ryan is 32 for 161 for 20%. Who's more likely to do both of them at the same time?
Well, that's got to be Drew Brees.
Of course. Matt Ryan's only done it 12 times. Brees has done it 60. I'm taking Brees. I'm just playing the odds because it feels like a fairly even choice.
You're confusing me with your numbers.
Sorry.
Okay.
I like Brees. JB likes Ryan.
What do you got me thinking? I'm taking Ryan. Ryan.
It was just funny because you hate Matt Ryan.
I hate Matt Ryan. I want to take Brees now. No, I'm going to take Matt. I'm taking Ryan.
Austin also wants to know: should I continue to play George Kittle now that now that everything's gone terribly wrong?
No.
Or
No.
should I go find somebody else? Because apparently he doesn't have one. Now,
Yes.
here's what I'm thinking. Here's the one thing I like about George Kittle.
Uh-huh.
C.J. Beathard was his quarterback all 4 years at Iowa.
Okay.
They have the chemistry, even though they probably both only actually played together for 2 years.
They have a special connection.
They have a special connection.
Okay.
They hooked up on all 10 of Kittle's 10 touchdown passes.
Oh, at Iowa.
In Iowa. At Iowa, yeah. They
Okay.
didn't. They only hooked up 12 times last year when they both were playing together in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But he was Beathard's third most targeted receiver when they were playing together, behind Carlos Hyde, who had 50 targets.
That's more.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
He was dumping it off a lot because he was in trouble under that not very good offensive line. It's upgraded this year. I have high hopes for Beathard. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but I think he's going to look better. So I'm sticking with Kittle.
You're going to stick with Kittle?
I'm sticking with him.
So you're saying there's nobody else in the league? Nobody else available
Well,
right
he's going to
now.
have to go to waiver wire, which is going to be a little thin at this point because people have already picked through it a little bit now. If on the off chance, if you're in a small league, I think Eric Ebron's probably already owned, but I like him a lot. Luck is going to him a ton, and who's that other guy? You're not going to remember his name.
No.
Jack Doyle.
Who?
He's injured.
Vance McDonald's probably available.
Vance McDonald would
he had
be
a
an
pretty good
interesting
game on
pick.
Monday.
You know what? I thought Jesse James was the guy, but apparently the Steelers were just waiting for Vance McDonald to get healthy again.
Is that a real thing?
I think that's what was happening. He was
Oh my
nursing a foot
gosh.
injury or something, and
Okay.
that's why Jesse James was targeted for like
Well,
150 yards week 2.
he looks healthy now.
Yeah.
He looked healthy in week 3.
I also really like Ricky Seals-Jones, and I think he could actually be available because
Okay.
he's not done much, and Bradford was terrible. But now with Rosen coming in, I think he's a better quarterback. I think Seals-Jones will get usage because you got like to throw it to your tight ends when you're under pressure and you're a new quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. The one thing for me that would make me take a look at Kittles and maybe think about keeping him is that as you start to get away from elite talent, what I look for is that player in a good system? And I still think that the 49ers is a good system for producing fantasy points. So, maybe there is hope. I don't think there is as much now, but I don't think it's as sure a play, but I think that the tight end in that offense gets work. And I think that as long as Kittles is the tight end, he's going to get looks.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. The other thing I thought about when thinking about which tight end you go after is who's picking up targets, basically, because who's being used in their offense. There's only 6 tight ends in the NFL so far that have reached 20 targets, and Kittle's one of them.
yeah, so maybe you
He's
keep
up there
him.
with the elite guys that you draft in the first 3 rounds.
And Shanahan uses his tight ends all the time.
Yeah.
So you've got him already on your roster. I wouldn't get rid of him at this point.
No, I think I would still start him too, unless you've got somebody else that you're not telling me about, which I don't think you are because you didn't tell me about him. I do also want to recommend Hayden Hurst, the first tight end drafted this year of the Baltimore Ravens. They love their tight ends. They've used Mark Andrews a ton. He was a 4th-round pick. They've used Max Williams a lot, and then Nick Boyle. They target them all, and Hayden Hurst is going to come back. He's going to push somebody off. It's probably going to be Max Williams. But they drafted this guy first overall. They fought to get him in the first round. I think they're going to use him. He's practicing, coming back from a foot injury. Maybe not this week, but I would go pick him up if you have a roster spot to get him and stash him and wait. In a couple of weeks when he gets fully healthy, the Ravens are probably going to use him a ton.
Yeah, if you are really concerned about your tight end position, that's a really good move. They were really focusing on him hard in preseason. So I think you're absolutely right. At Giovanni320 asks, Wentz versus Titans or Stafford versus Cowgirls?
Ooh, that's right. Sorry, Joey.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. You're right. I apologize.
Giovanni wrote this, not us. He said Cowgirls, not me. And I have to say, I don't know if you remember, Giovanni was our fan of the week last week.
Yes.
And I found out he was asking me some questions about fantasy. He let me know his son, Logan, is actually the co-manager of the team. And from the way they're performing, I think they're undefeated. They might have won last week too. I don't know. But I get the feeling that Logan is actually the brains behind this operation.
Nice.
Because
babe.
Gio's asking me all these questions.
Yeah. Why would he need to? Unless
Logan
he
probably's like, Dad,
needs help. Yeah.
just start Wentz. It doesn't matter. We got this in the bag. We got Odell. He's a big Odell Beckham fan.
Who's not?
Can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
So shout out to Logan. This one's for your dad. JB, Wentz versus the Titans or Stafford versus the Cowgirls? Sorry, Joey.
You know what? Stafford. It's a weaker defense.
I think so too. Sorry, Joey.
I think that's why is Wentz. He's still he did fine. I think Wentz did fine. There's a little bit of rust to shake off, and he's going to do that, and he's going to wind up being fine. The Titans are stout defensively, and they're coming off a pretty big win for them.
They
last
shut
week.
down an offensive juggernaut that just put up 4 touchdowns and like 370 yards on the Patriots.
That's what I'm saying, right? So what's not to love about the Titans' defense?
Yeah, nothing.
So probably Stafford and the Cowgirls. Yeah, Stafford and the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are. That's a team in turmoil.
The Cowboys have a pretty good defense, but for some reason things aren't working there. I can't think of the perfect comparison right now, but it's another team that they've got a lot of pieces individual. It's the Chargers. They've got a lot of great individual pieces, but for some reason it's not clicking. It's not coming together.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Well,
Do you know why?
I don't know that I know why, but I'll tell you this: Jason Garrett's been there a long time. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, there comes a time in every head coach's life in the NFL, in pro sports, right? You've been here a long time now, and nothing has changed. Maybe it's time we find somebody else.
There's only a few coaches that can survive that.
Yeah.
Jerry Sloan of the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
And Marverman Lewis of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, they can both survive
Anything.
complete and utter mediocrity
Yeah.
for extended periods of time. Other coaches who have been around for a long time have championships, like Belichick or Popovich, or is there another example that you can think of? These are the coaches that can hang around and just forever, but they win championships. Not like Jason Garrett, who seems like kind of a mid-level coach.
Nobody's ever talking about him doing anything great.
Not really.
You don't hear anything about his offensive genius or his defensive genius or whatever it is he's even good at. I don't think anybody knows.
Well, he's running the same system he ran when he was a player.
Forever.
Yeah, he's running Norv Turner's system. It's the old Cowboy system. I mean, it's I forget the guy. Anyway, it doesn't matter who, but it's the same system he ran when he was playing. I don't know. That team, like you said, I think that you put it exactly right. That team, it seems like they have a lot of individual pieces that aren't melding well.
And I really like what Stafford's been doing. They looked great against the Patriots. The offensive line looks like it might be coming together like they hoped it would. Kenny Golladay looks amazing. Marvin Jones is apparently fine, and he's still great. Golden Tate's great. Kerryon Johnson is amazing. First 100-yard rusher for the Lions in 5 years.
All those things are right. The only thing, and this is completely anecdotal, the Cowboys were embarrassed last week in Seattle. They were expecting to win that game, and they did not. And if I believed in such a thing as professional athletes playing for pride, I could see them coming back home and really putting forth extra effort against the Lions, because they probably see the Lions as another team they should beat. And honestly, you know what? If the Cowboys are the team they think they are, they should beat the Lions.
They really should.
I just don't think they are.
Dak's going to have to throw for over 200 yards for once in his life.
Yeah.
He's going to have to find a wide receiver for once in his life instead of giving the ball to Tavon Austin and letting him do all the work.
Although,
if it works,
yeah,
why not use it?
Might as well.
Yeah, but it's not going to keep working.
No. He's going to need to figure something. They got to figure something out. They got to do something. I think it really hurt the Cowboys when they didn't replace the tight end position when Jason Witten left.
Yeah.
I think not replacing Des Bryant, while I don't think it's a big deal, in that offense, apparently it is.
I think it is in the sense that they didn't go and get anybody who is even reliable. Because Alan Hearns, he was fine that one time, but he's not anybody, obviously. He's not done anything for them.
Yeah.
And then Michael Gallup hasn't turned into anything. I mean, he's a rookie, so you can't expect him to be a savior all of a sudden. And I don't even know who else they've got.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley, he's a role player.
Well, yeah, that's who they've got, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have anybody. You really don't have. You have
And 4 blocking tight ends apparently.
Evidently, right? I mean, they should probably figure something out.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're fine, but that only gets you through the middle of the second quarter. Once your defense starts to get tired, then that goes downhill fast. The Cowboys are suspect, and Stafford is due for another big game. Weird to think that the Lions got healthy against the Patriots.
Yeah.
But you know what? That seems to be what happened.
We have one more, and this one's back from Austin. We wanted to put something in the middle there. We didn't want to let Austin hog everything. Austin also wanted to know, who do we think will be the best fantasy player at the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver positions this week? So it doesn't have to be fantasy. It can just be, who do you think is going to have the best week? Who's going to go off this week? Quarterback, running back, wide receiver. And you know what? I'm going to start it off with who came to mind first for me. I'm going to take my running back pick. I think Melvin Gordon of the Los Angeles Chargers is going to have a really nice day against the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think that too much of that defense. I think the loss of Garoppolo is going to hurt him a little bit. And I think that the Chargers are going to win this game handily. And I think a lot of it's going to be on the shoulders and legs of Melvin Gordon.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I'm going to say over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wow. Okay.
And probably some receiving yards. He's been getting into there a little bit too.
That sounds good. You know what? I think that the Kansas City defense hasn't been sufficiently challenged this year. I am very impressed with Phillip Lindsay
Yeah.
of the Denver Broncos.
That kid's in the Rookie of the Year conversation for me.
And I think after getting falsely accused last week and ejected,
Yeah.
it was kind of a mess, wasn't it?
Well, so I didn't get to watch, oddly, the Baltimore game. I watched it on condensed version. I normally watch Baltimore on full version. I watched it on condensed. I wanted to save some time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't catch the fact that he apparently punched somebody when there was like a big pile up, and that's how he got through. Did he actually not punch anyone?
Well, the ball was on the ground,
Uh-huh.
and he jumped into the pile to try to get it out. And when he jumped into the pile, and the ball was underneath a Denver player, and he tried to punch it out,
like force it loose.
Yeah, and the referee saw it and
just assumed he was punching somebody.
Well, because it looked like he was punching the guy in the I think it was the side. Anyway, you can
That's
tell
tough break.
Yeah, they tossed him, and it was like that seems rude. That seems excessive.
Yeah,
but I get it. He handled it well, the aftermath well. But I think he could come back. And maybe not in the running game. Maybe he doesn't have a 100-yard day on the ground, but it wouldn't surprise me if he caught 10 balls. And maybe he did took a draw play maybe for another 50 yards. He could definitely break out.
That's true. Kansas City's been getting gashed.
Yeah, so...
I mean, they're winning, but they're winning because they're outscoring guys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stick with that game for my quarterback of the week, Patty Mahomes. I don't see any reason why he's not going to light up the Denver defense in another high-scoring affair. I think he'll get back to his high touchdown throwing ways because he had to surrender a couple touches to the running game last week, which kept him down to around 3 touchdowns, which was kind of sad for us.
Yeah.
But we still won, so who cares? I think he can get back up to 4 or 5 this week. He's going to obliterate some passing records if he keeps up this pace.
We'll see. We'll see if Kansas City can keep Von Miller and Chubbs off of.
Yeah, that's true.
Off of him. But he's a pretty mobile guy, and he's shown an ability to step up, and he keeps his eyes downfield so well for a younger quarterback.
I had no idea. The other thing that's a
good pick.
The other thing I'll say about Kansas City is they've had a pretty good offensive line this year. I think their lowest performing offensive lineman is a guard, the Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who's the first French-Canadian doctor to ever play in the NFL.
He's
or
an actual
like that.
MD, yeah. He can remove your appendix if you need it removed.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's been their lowest performing guy, at least according to Pro Football Focus. I have no idea what that means. They think highly of him still, despite the fact that he's just a doctor and not an NFL player.
Right.
And everybody else is playing well. And then the fact that Mahomes is playing out of his mind and he's got great offensive weapons. Chubb and Von Miller might not be that much of a problem.
Might not be.
Hopefully I don't ruin that for him.
Yeah, you just kind of jinxed him there. I like that.
Who's your quarterback?
You know what? I'm not gonna try to make this any more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
I don't see why you take anybody besides Jared Goff.
Whew. Yeah.
Because he's in the right offense and he's performing at an elite level right now. So even though Minnesota's defense I think it's pretty good, I don't think they're going to be able to hold the Rams offense at bay. And I think the Rams are going to throw the ball all over them, and Goff's going to have a great night.
I think one of 2 things is going to happen with Minnesota this week. Coming off of a shortened week and being embarrassed by the worst team in the history of football. And it was all the defense's fault, really. I mean, I guess Kirk Cousins had something to do with it, but they still...
It was pretty...
Yeah, they didn't do that much. The Buffalo offense didn't do that much,
no,
I will say.
No.
They still got embarrassed. They're either going to come out with a huge chip on their shoulders and play really well, and they're going to limit Goff, or they're just demoralized and they're broken. They've lost Everson Griffin, which is a sad story because apparently he's got a bad mental health issue that he's dealing with, so he's off of the team now. Not off of the team, but he's not playing. Apparently something came up Saturday before the game. He apparently had threatened somebody at the hotel they were staying at to shoot them.
Oh, I did see a blurb
Something
about that.
happened with that, and I think that's probably related to some mental health issue. So we're hoping that everything gets resolved with him and he feels better. But they're losing another key piece. He's a great pass rusher on their team. They might be kind of a mess right now, emotionally too, even.
I hadn't heard about that. I think it's going to be a great game. Either way, I think it's going to be an exciting game to watch. So it's...
Sorry to put everything in a sour mood.
We'll
sad place.
We'll just move right along to wide receivers.
Okay.
Jarvis Landry.
Ooh.
Jarvis Landry against Oakland.
That's right.
Yes.
That's an intriguing pick. He's been doing well this year.
He has been. And now that Baker Mayfield's throwing on the ball,
Oh, it's beautiful.
yeah, why not?
That's a great pick.
Why not Jarvis?
This is a bit of a reach, but I'm going to go for it. Who's playing this week that hasn't played in a couple of weeks?
I don't know.
And who's an amazing wide receiver?
An amazing wide receiver?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
On a new team.
On a new team,
Josh Gordon. Sat out last week.
he's
Getting healthy, learning the playbook. Coming in this week against Miami, but it's at home in New England. Tom Brady's been itching to throw some deep balls. Nobody in there right now can do it. I'm going to say Josh Gordon coming out party. Big game, couple touchdowns.
Boy, they could. I mean, that's a thing that could happen, but I thought it was going to happen last week, and then he didn't even play. They didn't even activate him. And what I'm thinking, with the way the trade was structured, and if Josh Gordon isn't active for 10 games,
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe they just keep him so that he's not going to be active for 10 games to make sure they get that pick back. So
Wiley Bill, always thinking ahead.
then again, this is potentially the third loss in a row, which hasn't happened to the Patriots since 2002.
Yeah.
That's a long time. It might be time to, you know what? It might be time to activate the deep threat on the roster
Yeah.
who's sitting on the sidelines
You know what, though? If it's not him, I'm going with Kenny Golladay.
against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Love Kenny Golladay. He's
All right.
amazing.
Solid.
Those are our picks, Austin. Thanks for all the sit 'em, start 'em questions and other topics from all of our Twitter followers. If you have something that you want to have us talk about, just let us know on Twitter. We will accept your request for a topic, and we will talk about it, because that's what we do.
Now, on to Lose the Farm.
Mm.
You want to talk about week 3, don't you?
I had a shocker.
TK, what happened?
Man, I don't know.
I thought I was having a hard time.
I had a real bad time. 5-11.
You end up at 5-11. I'm 7-9.
You did all right.
Well, I'm still losing money, but not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we really need to get into. Overall, I'm 20-27. You're 22-25.
We both got embarrassed by the Minnesota pick.
Of course.
We both got confused by the Philadelphia game. Philadelphia, Indiana.
That's true.
Yeah.
Indiana's been hanging tough with guys.
Indianapolis.
Their defense is doing a lot better than they used to do.
Yeah.
I will give them that. Good, nice work by the defensive coordinator, whoever that is right now.
So, this week, again, we're getting our lines from VegasInsider.com. So, whatever the line is, if you think it's wrong, yell at them. First up, Thursday Night Football. The Rams at home against Minnesota. The Rams are favored by 7.
Last year in Minnesota, they won 24-7. Kind of knocked the Rams around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not thinking it's going to go that way this time.
I wouldn't think so either. I wouldn't think it would go that way. But I do want to just consider this.
Okay.
The Rams are 3-0. I think we're both going to say they're going to go 4-0. But the combined records of their opponents so far is 1-8. So, you know what? Don't get me wrong. They have won every single game. And you can only beat the tomato cans they put in front of you.
Yeah.
But they're 1-8. So, I think the Rams are going to beat Minnesota. I think they're going to cover the spread.
I do too.
But, for all those people saying best team ever, slow your roll. Cincinnati travels to Atlanta. Atlanta is favored by 5.
I think I'm going to go with the Falcons. I like what I've seen. Calvin Ridley's kind of stepped up and looks like the real deal.
Yeah, he looks pretty good now. I think so, too. I'm taking Atlanta. Tampa Bay travels to Chicago. Chicago is favored by 3. This matchup, we had a Twitter question from Enyobu, and he was asking how much Fitzmagic is there left. You know what? I think there is still Fitzmagic left. You're looking at 3 400-yard games. Don't look at the result last week, because obviously Tampa Bay lost. But they still offensively put up 30 points.
27 points.
27 points and 400 yards passing.
That's right.
There were a couple of ill-conceived interceptions. We're just gonna let those go.
Yeah.
We're also gonna just take out of our head for a moment that Ryan Fitzpatrick does have a 6 interception game back in 2016 with the Jets.
Ooh, that's not too long ago.
We're gonna remove that from the memory bank,
I forgot about it.
and we're gonna say, yeah, there's still magic there, and he's gonna get the start this week, and I would keep him in.
I don't know if I would. I think there's still Fitzmagic, but I don't think it's going to be out there this week on display. I like Chicago's defense a lot. I think Khalil Mack is going to make mincemeat out of the Tampa Bay offensive line. Akeem Hicks is pretty good too.
Well, it's different defense.
Roquan Smith.
Yeah, this is a different defense than Tampa Bay's played
Yeah,
so far this year.
good
So
one.
it'll be a new
it's
challenge.
a good defense.
That being said, Tampa's O-line has been doing pretty good
They have.
protecting the passer.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay's defense has been surprisingly surprisingly stout.
They rebounded after a down year last year.
Yeah.
They're another team that kind of has a lot of individual big names on their defense, but last year it didn't come together, and this year it has.
Yeah. So who are you taking? Chicago?
I think I had trouble with this one. I mean, the points that Tampa Bay is capable of putting up is scary, especially when the fact that Trubisky can't put up points.
Yeah. It's going to need to be, sub 20.
It's going to come down to the defense, basically. If Chicago can hold Fitzmagic, hold him down, then it'll be a good game. I could see Tampa Bay running away with this, but I'm going to go with Chicago, the home team.
I'm going with the home team as well. Detroit travels to Dallas. Dallas is favored by 3. We talked about this one a little bit already. I'm taking Detroit.
Nuyobu also talked about this one at Asgard's Goat. He also asked us, do we think that it's Jason Garrett's fault, or is this on Dak Prescott? Like, why is this team losing? What do you think? You think it's Jason Garrett? I think you touched on it a little bit earlier.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say it like this. At this point, I think Dak Prescott is more valuable to the Cowboys than Jason Garrett.
Oh, that's for sure.
I think Dak Prescott is harder to replace than Jason Garrett. I think there are a lot of coaches in this league that can do the same job that Jason Garrett's doing for the Cowboys. So that being said, I would replace Jason Garrett right now. I'm not calling for him to be fired, but I would lay a lot of this at the feet of Jason Garrett. I think Dak Prescott can get it done. His rookie year, I think he did great. He came in, filled in for Romo, did a great job. I think he can get back to that level. I think it's a matter of coaching at this point. You got to put him in a system that is best for him, and I think that Dallas can do a better job of that.
I agree.
All right.
And I have Detroit as well.
Very good. Buffalo traveling to Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 10.
Don't care what happened last week. Green Bay is going to win.
Green Bay, I have Green Bay as well. Philadelphia traveling to Tennessee. Philadelphia, a road favorite, 4 points.
Tennessee put on a good effort last week. They efforted hard against the terrible / good, I guess, Jacksonville Jaguars, but you put up 6 points, so you're not that good.
Yeah.
That team is so confusing.
The Jags?
The Jaguars. How do you go and beat Brady?
They're not confusing. They're bad.
And then you're going to lose a 6-9 game.
They're offensively inept. The Patriots are terribly... They're a soft defensive team.
They are.
I'm taking Philly.
Gotta be Philly.
Okay.
Carson Wentz is back.
Houston traveling to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is favored by 1.5.
Indy's defense is surprising me. They're looking really good. Marcus Hunt, this guy is doing great. Have you been paying attention to him?
No.
He's picked up quite a few sacks. He's forced some fumbles. He's just looked all around good. He's on the defensive line for Indianapolis. Keep your eye out on him. He's playing really well. I think he's going to annoy the crap out of Deshaun Watson this weekend.
Nice. Good pull. I've been impressed with the way Andrew Luck's been playing. I know they've been going back and forth on what he's doing, but I just like him as a game manager. He seems like a quarterback from the 80s or 90s when I first started watching football. He seems like the anti-modern era quarterback. So it's been fun for me to watch. I don't know how successful he'll be long term, but I'm picking him this week. As a game manager, though, I would take Wentz. I'm sorry, Luck. I would take Luck as a game manager. He's doing a great job of it. And, his short throws get there with some speed on him. He's got a little bit of zip. So just because you can't throw the ball 60 yards in the air doesn't mean that. Miami traveling to New England. New England is favored by 7. A 1-2 New England team favored by 7 against a 3-0 Miami team.
What year is it?
2018.
No way.
Welcome to
Did Brady just
Trump
retire?
land.
What's going on?
This is exactly what this. It's opposite year. Everything is backwards.
Buffalo just won.
Right? This is completely opposite of the way I thought it was going to be.
Green Bay lost to Washington.
Everything is backwards. But it's a good thing. I'm looking forward to this. This is a great matchup for Miami. What a fantastic opportunity for the Dolphins.
Show that they're for real. They beat New England last time they played.
Did they? I didn't.
Yeah, they beat New England last time down in Miami in December.
Okay. So not only could it put the Dolphins at 4-0, which is great, it puts the Patriots, their major rival in division, at 1-3 if they win this game. Huge game.
Big smile on my face.
And yet, New England's favored by 7. Are you buying it?
I am. I'm taking New England.
I think I'm taking New England, too.
They haven't lost 3 in a row, like you said, since 2002. They haven't even lost 2 in a row since 2015.
I think I was reading a stat that said Tom Brady has only lost back-to-back games 8 times in his career.
Yeah, it's not a lot in an 18-year career.
Yeah, my mind just explodes when I think about that. It's amazing. Maybe this is just my own personal prejudice, but I just can't see Miami being that good.
No, it doesn't feel like
it's smoke and mirrors, right? It's Adam Gase. It's kind of a gimmick offense. They're running they're running like hook and ladders. They're running like the Statue of Liberty play.
Yeah. Well, they played Tennessee the first week, and they were able to knock Mariota out of the game. That was the game he got hurt in.
Right.
And so I think they got a little bit lucky there. I don't know if they actually win that game if Mariota stays in. Then they play Oakland last week. That's an easy win because Oakland is just going to fold even if they have the. I mean, Jordy Nelson had like 170 yards at halftime, and then he did nothing in the second half, and they just completely crumbled. And then who'd Miami beat week 2?
Jets.
And then they beat the Jets. So how impressed are you really at this point? Sure, you've gone 3-0. That's a great feat, but you haven't impressed me with who you're beating.
Okay, but we're saying that the Rams are 3-0, and we're all over them. But you're saying
they
that
have actually looked good in their
Dolphins-
wins.
Okay,
They
all
have
right.
actually. I'm not impressed. Even when I was watching them come back on Oakland, I was like, okay. You gave Albert Wilson you basically handed off the ball. It counts as a 70-yard touchdown for Tannehill because technically it moved forward from your hand, that 1 inch out of your hand. But Oakland just screwed that up royally and let this guy run through it. Maybe it was Jakeem Grant. I can't remember which one it was. It doesn't matter. They both had really long touchdowns that were not impressive against real defenses.
Fair enough. I see what you're saying, and I also tend to agree with you. I think New England's going to cover the spread. So Jets traveling to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's favored by 7.5.
In Jacksonville, huh?
In Jacksonville. I think they get healthy this week.
This is a good offense for the Jags defense to crawl back. I mean, they still...
Yeah.
9 points allowed is pretty good. You would expect them to win that game.
You would expect them to win that game. You know what, though? This is a good game for Sam Darnold to lose because it's important for him to understand what he's going to be playing against in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And he's going to have these kinds of moments. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him to go down there and just play in Jacksonville in front of those fans and in that atmosphere, and have that pass rush come at him. So I hope he walks away from it healthy.
How do you feel about good call? How do you feel about the fact that the Jets defense is looking pretty good?
Man, you know what?
And Bortles isn't anybody that inspires any confidence. Do you think that they're going to have trouble actually getting that 7.5 point win? Do you think it's going to come off the backs of the defense?
Yeah, I think it might. I totally agree with what you're saying. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the offense put up 14 points or less, and then there was maybe a special team score, or there was probably a defensive score at some
or at
point.
least a turnover that puts them in red zone.
Or a turnover that put them in a position where the offense had to stumble into the end zone, maybe by accident.
Well, if Fournette plays again this week, then they're going to be able to run the ball.
I was surprised they didn't have an easier time running the ball with TJ Yeldon.
Yeah.
I thought he would have more success than he did.
I guess the Tennessee defense is pretty good. It's kind of what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, so I think they've got that going for them. The Jets' defense under Bowles has always been pretty good.
Yeah, and Casey Rogers is the DC. He's looking pretty good too.
So, yeah, I understand the line is big. 7.5 points is a lot to give up. That being said, a rookie quarterback, and I just think it's going to get away from him. Okay, Cleveland travels to Oakland. Oakland is favored by 3. 0-3 Oakland favored against 1-1-1 Cleveland, coming off their first win since 1923. Yeah. Does that seem right? There's no way that seems right to me.
I'm looking forward to see what Denzel Ward does this weekend.
He
just keeps showing up.
I was so off about him when I gave the Browns a bad time for picking him. I was so off because he has probably been the most impressive defensive rookie.
He's had the most impact for sure, if he hasn't been the best in general overall.
Like you said, they've played 3 games. I think he's had a key play in all 3 games.
Yeah.
So I think you're absolutely right. He even had a key play in preseason when he almost crunched himself in half. Remember that?
That's right.
During Hard Knocks, he bent his back the wrong way, and Greg Williams gave him crap for not tackling well or something like that. Gotta teach him how to hit in the NFL. But yeah, I think I'm taking Oakland here because there's got to be at some point Oakland's got to come off this slide, and 0-4 doesn't seem like they'll get to that point. But Cleveland's playing really well.
Yeah, they've been tough in all their games.
I'm going to take Oakland, but it feels like a stretch. Feels like a game that Cleveland can win.
I think Cleveland's lost their game by a field goal, right? And then they tied, and then they won. So the 3-point spread, I might be changing my pick here. Here's the other thing. We're done with the win streak. The win streak is gone, or the losing streak.
The losing streak.
But road losing streak, still intact. Cleveland has lost their last 22 road games.
Oh,
which dates back to
gracious.
an overtime win in Baltimore, of course.
Of course.
A 33-30 win in 2015.
Was I alive then?
Also, Cleveland hasn't won a West Coast road game in a long time, but their last West Coast road win came over the Oakland Raiders in 2012. 20-17, 3 points.
That'll do it.
That's
So
That's 3 points. 3 points in their loss to New Orleans, 3 points in their overtime win at Baltimore, their last road win, 3 points in their last West Coast road win at Oakland, 3-point win, Cleveland in Oakland, 2018.
So you're taking Cleveland.
I'm switching. I'm taking Cleveland.
All right, I'm locking you in.
Okay.
You're locked in. Okay. Seattle travels down to the desert to face the Arizona Cardinals. Seattle favored by 3. Josh Rosen gets a start.
That shouldn't be a problem.
You wouldn't think so,
No.
but it's the Cardinals.
These are two great teams. Anything can happen when these teams match up.
And the best thing about living in the Pacific Northwest is you know for a fact this is going to be the afternoon game this weekend. An entire geographical area is going to be forced to watch this 6-3 debacle, because I think that's what the final score is going to be.
Right. They tied 6-6, I think, 4 years ago.
Well, that was the year when Bruce Arians got on his kicker.
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember who the kicker was then.
It might have been Catanzaro. An overtime game. They both kicked a overtime field goal.
That's right.
So it was 3-3 at the end of the game.
At the end of the regulation, and then 6-6.
It was Chandler Catanzaro versus Steven Hauschka.
Oh, it was Steven Hauschka. Wow. Hauschka's a good kicker. I'm surprised by that. Obviously, he doesn't kick for the Seahawks anymore, and that's probably one of the reasons why.
Hauschka was 2 of 3, and Catanzaro was 2 of 4 in that game. We're spending probably way too much time on this, but it's fun for us.
Yes.
We like to reminisce about the good times. Hauschka also missed a field goal at the death, 11 seconds left, a 28-yarder that would have won him the game in overtime.
Yeah, no, they weren't going to, no.
Possession before that, 3:26 left, Catanzaro missed a 24-yard field goal.
Yeah, it was a disaster for both sides. Nobody looked good at the end of that game.
That was it. There was 4 possessions in that 15-minute overtime. The first 2 field goals were made. The last 2 were missed.
Tie.
Can't wait for this one to happen again.
Yes, this is the rematch.
So it comes down to basically, is Rosen going to be good, or is Rosen going to be a rookie and have a little growing pains? And I think he's going to have a little growing pains. Seattle defense is looking good. Secondary is playing pretty well. Thomas and what's his name, McDougald, are one of the top safety duos in the league right now. They're putting up a lot of turnovers.
Yeah,
that's great to be going up against a new rookie that's never played basically before.
Yeah, I'm going to take Seattle.
I think Seattle wins this by more than 3 comfortably.
I think Rosen's got to prove it to me before I'll believe it. So that makes sense. I feel good about that pick. New Orleans traveling to the New York Football Giants. New Orleans is favored by 3.5.
New Orleans won last weekend.
They did. In
a game when they basically just traded touchdowns because they let everybody score on them.
Yeah.
New York Giants have that kind of defense too, where I feel like it's a cycle. Trade.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to who wins the coin flip. I think it's just going to be like 74-77 in the end. And I think New York has the ball last and scores the touchdown and wins.
Okay. That sounds right. I'll take the other side. I think the game's going to be the same kind of game. But I'm going to take New Orleans.
Yeah.
Just because Drew Brees is a stud. Okay, next up, San Francisco traveling south to face the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's a tough one.
Chargers favored by 10.5.
CJ beat hard.
I think the question here is how are they going to fit all the Chiefs fans into the stadium?
Hey, I made that joke last week.
I know, and it was funny. And it was funny last week too. That's why I wanted to use it again. Speaking of which, we didn't talk about the Chargers-Rams game last week.
Okay, let's get into that a little bit.
Were there fans there?
Yeah, you couldn't tell who they were rooting for. No, it was all Rams fans.
Okay, good. I'm not good, but
there are no Chargers fans.
No Chargers fans at all?
I'm betting, like you said, Chiefs fans. It will be all red because all the San Francisco fans will be in the Coliseum.
Oh, it's brutal. 10.5 points is going to be it's a big number, but it's accurate. I think that Phillip Rivers is gonna take care of this, and his Chargers are gonna win.
Beathart's gonna struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Baltimore travels to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored by 3.
Only 3.
Only 3.
Pittsburgh's been playing to their competition a little bit.
I think Pittsburgh's been playing a little below their competition.
Yeah. Well, they always play. They've been a tie game, a tough shootout with Kansas City, a close win. Baltimore, I want them to win. I'm rooting for them to win, but I'm not betting on them to win. I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
I think I'm taking Pittsburgh only because they're the home team. That's it. I think that does matter in the NFL, and that's the reason why I'm taking.
It'll come down for me if Baltimore's pass rush can get to Big Ben and actually sack him.
Yeah.
If they don't get a good grip on him and he squirrels out like he always does on those sack attempts, I think it's going to be bad news and a big passing day for him, because it's always bad when the defense breaks down and receivers aren't running routes anymore. They're just running open.
Yeah, and then the secondary loses track of guys.
And Ben can do things like that. He can find guys when it comes down to that.
He's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
Okay. Monday night. The Monday night game. KC travels to Denver. Kansas City's favored by 5.
This isn't even a question for me.
No, it's going to be Kansas City.
They're going to win big.
All right, that's it. That's lose the farm.
Wait, we have a couple of bye week teams. We should at least acknowledge that they are on a bye.
Okay.
In
that's
case
fair.
you were wondering where these teams are. The Carolina Panthers are on a bye. And I don't know if you know this, but they are undefeated on bye weeks. Never lost.
Never, not once.
That's right.
Also winless on bye weeks, the Washington football team.
That's right. They haven't. You got to get on that, man.
You know,
Jay Gruden.
He doesn't do a very good job of game planning for the bye week.
Yeah.
And so you can't really expect to succeed. Failure to plan is planning to fail.
I think he expects that he's going to win since he's not playing anybody, but every time ends up losing.
Every time he ends up not winning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last segment. Deep Fantasy Flyer. Last week,
Yikes.
you suggested to everybody that they go take a flyer on Jesse James, tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It is
Now, now here's the thing. There was a tight end for the Steelers who went off.
Yeah.
He had a really good game. And I was like, dude, TK, you're all over it again.
I had the position right.
Except
I had the name wrong.
the name of the player that went off was
Vance McDonald.
not Jesse James.
Good grief.
Yeah.
It turns out, like what I said earlier, I think the Steelers actually like Vance McDonald more in the pass-catching role. The problem was his foot was injured, and they were holding him back, or maybe not even playing him. I'm not sure. I think he still had targets in the game where Jesse James went off. But I think they were using Jesse James because Vance was a little dinged up.
Okay.
Apparently now, Vance is fine. He's just killed Chris Conti. I don't know if anybody heard, but he retired at halftime.
I don't think that's true.
Basically, he's on IR now.
He is on IR.
Yeah.
That part's true.
Yeah, it was Vance McDonald.
You were close.
I was close.
You were close.
You, however,
I told you you could take a flyer on the Seattle defense because Dallas
Seahawks defense.
Dallas is terrible in Seattle. Terrible in Seattle. And if you would have listened to me, I think that Seattle went off for 20 points.
Yeah, and you know what? They were the third best scoring defense in our league settings, which are a little different because I didn't like how default scoring is. But I'm pretty sure that they were a top 5 scoring defense in normal standard settings too, because they had 5 sacks and 2 interceptions, and then they only allowed 13 points.
Yeah, so I mean they did a lot of things that you'd want a stout defense to do for you.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes it works out that way.
What I'm hoping is our one of our friends on Twitter, Evan. What is he? He's a chef, at Triathlete Chef.
Yes.
He was asking for a defensive pick, and we told him you're gonna have to check out the podcast because JB has a defense for you, and I don't know if he picked him up or not. He actually came at us late Saturday asking if we thought the Dallas defense was a good pick.
Yeah.
I said, just listen to the show. I hope you listened. I hope you learned. And you know what? Seattle might be a good pick this weekend too. Rookie quarterback.
Well, you know what? I think the scoring is going to be pretty low. So if you want it from that point of view, sure.
So who do you got this week?
Well, how about Kansas City's defense against Denver?
Now that's a pick.
Now the reason being, I don't think if push comes to shove, I think Case Keenum is going to be turnover prone in that game. If you put him in a spot where he's got to play from behind, I think he's going to turn the ball over. I don't think they're going to score a lot of points, and I think that game could wind up being a blowout.
Case Keenum is at a 3-to-5 touchdown to interception ratio, so he's throwing the picks. I think you're right. He's going to have to be forced to throw the ball. It makes sense, and it's a sleeper pick because Kansas City's allowing a ton of points.
It does kind of conflict with my Philip Lindsay is going to have the best game, though. We'll see.
Yeah. Kansas City defense, though. That's an intriguing pick. I think they only have 1 turnover created so far.
They're not very good, so...
Maybe they have 2.
So yeah, this is going to be this is a deep flyer.
Yeah.
Deep flyer. They should be available in your league.
Well, here's a tip for you for next week. Now that the bye weeks have started, this is what I'm doing. I'm looking at bye week players. Who are the guys that are on bye weeks that are starters? Like, for instance, this week, Cam Newton and Alex Smith are both on byes.
Right.
So somebody's going to be looking, inevitably, somebody's going to be looking for a quarterback. So I'm looking at quarterbacks who aren't normally owned or started, like Eli Manning, for instance, who's going up against the terrible, dreadful New Orleans Saints defense at home. Even
that could be a big number.
So
here, yeah,
Eli Manning is my pick for deep fantasy sleeper this week. I think if you don't like your quarterback matchup this week, or if you've got Newton or Alex Smith and you need another quarterback, fantasy executive, Eli Manning might be the way to go.
Sounds good.
Eli in for a big game.
That's not bad. That's a good pick.
I hope so.
It's a good pick. You think
I need to bounce back after that Jesse James debacle.
Do you think he's unowned though? Have you looked at that? Is he?
He is in our league.
Okay.
I'm going to assume he's unowned in most leagues. I don't think he's been deserving of a roster spot.
Fair enough.
At this point.
I like it. All right. So good luck to all of you in week 4, and good luck to your teams.
I'm TK.
I'm JB.
Goodbye.